This kid can play. Let's just hope we don't get him killed by the end of the season.
Yep, Ron Rivera was knuckle deep in a pint of chocolate chip when Taylor Heineke told him, Coach, I'm not playing this weekend. Let's give this Howell kid a shot. I actually think
he's trying like hell to take credit for it.
Pop, what's going on, man?
It's just a brutal place.
Hey, tell you what, I'm just going to screw all the intros here. I'm just going to let you tee off because we had to rush. I had to stop you because I'm like, we're missing out on gold here. You came out bringing the heat. Pop came out bringing the heat just to start. As soon as his face showed up on my screen, he's already flying. So, Pop, let him have it. Let him know how you're feeling today, man.
I mean, it's just incredible, like, sports, what they can do to you. I'm really thinking about taking up knitting or something
Pickleball.
else. I forgot they were even playing. Day starts with the Terps, right? They lost to Davidson on Friday night. Like, looked like they were playing the River Hill JV team. They lose to them. All right. And then basketball I'm talking about. And then they have the consolation game against UAB in this little tournament, Asheville tournament today. Same kind of idea. Losing the whole second half, not looking good, make a run, rally, just enough to get your hopes up, lose. Then I got the Bengals in the survivor pool. Same thing. Pretty much losing the whole game. Down 10 in the fourth quarter. Rally, comeback, and Tyler Boyd has a ball thrown to him in the end zone that, like you said, I mean, my mother-in-law could catch in the end zone, and he drops it.
Oh, man.
And my mother-in-law's got some good hands. He drops it. So I lose the survivor pool on that. It was down to 2 people left. And then the Commanders, just classic Commanders, just good enough to lose. You knew they were losing that. You knew it.
Yep.
You know, Sam Howell's doing everything in his power. The offense finally wakes up after just going to sleep for 3 quarters, going to absolute sleep. The play calling was horrendous today. Awful. Save me any EB love today. It sucked. It sucked. We can run a 2-minute offense. Great. What about the rest of the game?
Yeah, where's the 4-minute offense?
Anyway, that's enough of that.
Yeah, I mean, just brutal day, brutal. If it makes you feel any better, Pop, Team Carlo.
And the defense was awful. The defense was awful. At the end of the day,
is terrible.
I mean, the offense puts up 26 points. They did enough. It's frustrating that the way the game was called was just terrible.
I mean, at this point,
they made it happen at the end of the game, and you got to give them credit for that. But the defense is just horrendous.
At this point, Sam Howell could go out there and walk on water, and we'd lose because the defense is so bad. Like, there's just nothing at this point that can be done for this team.
We got a lot to get into.
Yeah, there's organized. There's a lot to get into here. And if it makes you feel any better, Pop, Team Carlo put up 138 fantasy points today, and that's half PPR scoring. So it's a little lower scoring, 138, and we lost. We outscored every team in the league except for the team we were playing by 30 points. So, Big Jim, shout out to you for pulling out the victory. I know usually I've had your number, but you got me. You got me back.
Well,
today.
your boy here is trying to get into the loser bracket, right? Because playing one of the other, not me to spiaccia Dane, but I'm playing one of the other teams in the league that are very good. I got a 6-game losing streak going. I'm looking to set the record today. The only thing that went well, it's adding number 7, is that I started Sam Howell as my fantasy quarterback, and he balled. So
there you go.
But I still think I'm going to lose.
Yeah, the projections are looking tight. But anyways, to get into the Commanders, I mean, Pop said it, just good enough to lose today, and just a brutal game. Just a brutal game. You knew it. I said to my girlfriend Morgan came by to watch the game today, and I said to her while we're driving on that 4th and 1, I said, you don't need any more go, Pop. You're going out. You got plenty of go. You need some slow juice is what you need. But
that's true.
Man, just brutal game. I mean, you come out, you can't ask for a better start offensively, right? I mean, just come out and punch him in the mouth. Huge, big play. Howell with just an unbelievable. I mean, if Mahomes makes that play, you're plastering that all over SportsCenter top 10
Did
for the
it
next 3
twice.
weeks, right? Twice, by the way. I think the second touchdown throw to Gibson was even better, but we'll get to that. Well chronologically
Yeah.
here. Comes out, punches him in the mouth, and then you just knew the defense was just going to roll over like a dog on its last day. You just knew it. No way we're going to
Yeah.
make that stop. And thankfully, frankly, we should be writing thank you letters.
That's a really sad analogy. Please don't use that one again.
I'm sorry, but it's a very sad defense. It's a very
It's
sad
true.
defense. I know we're big dog lovers here, so you should understand how strong of a statement that was. I mean, my fantasy football team is named after my dog. That's how sad this defense is. Um, just completely. I mean, we should be writing thank you letters to Geno Smith for how terrible he played today, because that's the only reason we were in that game
You
defensively.
never know it
Frankly,
by his
Geno was
his stat
awful.
line.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you say,
You
"Wow,
made him look
Geno
great.
missed most of the game, and he still put up 300 and change." So that just leads you to believe what would have happened if you had a real quarterback in there. Get ready for Miami at home. That's going to be a fun one. Um, it's just, I mean, it's just brutal watching that defense play. They are just. This is. There are a lot of bad defenses. This might be the worst defense of my lifetime. This has got to be up
Yeah,
there. I mean, it's hard to.
it's as
We lived.
bad as it gets.
I lived through multiple years
What
in the
was
nuts
supposed to
seat.
be the team strength.
Yeah, what was going into the year? I mean, go back and look at our power rankings podcast from the off season if you want a good laugh. I mean, going into the year, PFF, NFL.com, everybody had them top 10. Just complete collapse there. Um, Otherwise, I mean, offensively, we got some good stuff
Otherwise,
done. Yeah, aside from just the absolute nightmare of a
no,
defensive
I mean
football game.
offensively, we also went to sleep for about more than 3 quarters, right? I mean,
Yep.
we couldn't do anything. It's great that we had those last couple of drives and were able to put up points, but the lack of run pass balance is a problem.
Yeah, and it's not helping the
It's a
defense.
real problem.
It does not help the defense. Um, but it is it's tough. And I was talking with a friend of ours on Twitter today. You guys, I think a lot of you guys saw my post asking about what we wanted to see from Sam today, and he said he just wanted to see 3 quarters of complete football from the offense, not even 4. He said be happy with 3, and we couldn't even get that. And Sam, I don't think Sam is the issue here. I think you start to see the offensive line gets tired and not holding the pocket up any longer. You start to see EB just completely get away from the run game. EB seems to be really good at that script at the beginning of the game, and then he seems to be really good in 2-minute situations and in 4-minute situations. But where is that second and third quarter? It always
Take
seems
a
to
guess.
disappear. It always seems to
What
fall off.
from our backs? What was our average yards per carry? I took Sam Howell out of the statistic.
7, 6.5.
All right, you're going a little crazy, but 4.25 yards per carry. So
Plenty
it wasn't
efficient.
that we weren't effective.
So
He just refuses to do it.
road game in Seattle in the rain, 4.25 yards per carry. Sounds like maybe Brian Robinson should have had 15, 20 carries this game. Sounds like Antonio Gibson, who I thought played fantastically, should have had 7, 8 carries
I,
today. Like,
I'm starting to think this is going to be really controversial, and maybe I need to think on it, but I'm just going to say it. I'm starting to think the QB is successful in spite of the offensive coordinator, not because of him.
I don't agree, but I do agree that we
Because
need to run the ball more.
It's ridiculous that we don't have better balance. It's ridiculous that we go quarters in the game with no production whatsoever, because it's obvious what was happening. Seattle started pinning their ears back and going after the quarterback because they're like, this guy's not going to run the ball. He just refuses to run the ball, whether it's the right call or not. And the fact that Sam was able to pull off what he did, after all of that is incredible.
And that's where I think we see that deterioration start because they don't have to respect the run anymore. At the beginning of the game, you always kind of have to go, well,
Exactly.
will they run the ball or won't they? And then you realize, nope, EB's just going to sling it. And that's where you see the offense go to sleep in the second, third, beginning of the fourth quarter generally. And then teams are backing off trying to prevent disaster. And now we can attack again.
I mean,
But
there were a
I
lot of
think,
short balls. I mean, B-Rob and Gibson were our two leading receivers, so you can argue those act as runs, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, I think that's generally the design of Eric Bieniemy's offense is that he's using those short passes to act as runs, which is fine. It can work. I have a really big concern with our wide receiver group right now. I am really speaking of groups that I think we looked at as a strength going into the season. Look, I'm wearing his jersey. I love him. Where is Terry? Where is Jahan Dotson? You saw them go to Terry on that 4th and 1, and I said to my girlfriend Morgan, I said, that is horrible defense because how do you not have him covered on a slant on 4th and 1? You know the ball's going there. But our wide receivers are not getting open.
Well, they spread it. I
They are
mean, they
not.
spread it
They're
around.
spreading the ball around, which is fine, but
I
our
don't think
guys are
that's I
not.
don't think that's the talent of the receivers.
We're seeing a lot, and we played a really great defensive back group today. But over the course of the year, and continuing today, we're just not seeing our guys get open at the rate you would like to see with the amount of talent that we have there. So to piggyback off some of your concerns offensively, that worries me. It does. I mean, we do a little bit of sports betting here. Most of the time, if you're going to bet the over on a quarterback yards, you bet the over on his number one receiver as well, and you parlay it, and that usually pays if he goes over. Not with this team. And you're seeing tight end screens to John Bates. You're seeing Byron Pringle get involved. And you're seeing a lot of these yards come on checkdowns. And why are they coming on checkdowns? Why are our two running backs the lead receivers? Because our wide receivers aren't getting open. That's why they're not all these design plays.
It's fair. I mean, it's a fair concern. I'm not going to debate you on it. I don't look at the all 22. Um, I feel like I feel like that's just the scheme. It just gets the ball. There's a lot of short passes. They can't get the ball downfield because they can't protect the quarterback long
Yeah.
enough to do that. And now they're having to go to these quick balls. I mean, your top two receivers were your two running backs, 11 catches between the two of them. There just isn't enough
Ain't
time.
it? That
Now,
ain't
if
it.
you want to start getting Terry more involved in that short game, that's a different
Ding,
story.
ding,
But
ding,
I
ding,
think,
ding, 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 ding.
yeah,
That's
but
exactly what we should be doing.
that's not the quality of the receivers. I believe in these guys. I think they
I
can play
believe in him
well.
too. I believe in him too, talent wise. But I have not seen the production yet, and I wanna see the production. We saw
Because
flashes
you
of it with
can't run
Han
play
last
action
couple
because you
weeks.
don't run the ball.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Look,
You
I'm
are
not
not
calling
putting
the
the
plays
defense
here.
on their you're
I'm
not
not
putting
calling
the
the plays
defense
here.
on their heels. That's the issue. But
Yeah.
anyway, I mean, maybe they could play better. I don't know.
Yeah, let's keep it moving here. I do think they could play better, but it's okay. We could agree to disagree on that. Overall,
I didn't disagree with you, by the way.
it's okay. You can own your stance. We've done our fair share of reacting here. Let's go over the numbers really quick. Sam Howell today, excellent as far as I'm concerned. 29 to 44, 312 yards, 3 sacks, one fumble, 109 passer rating, which is pretty damn good. And then obviously touchdown passes to Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, and De'Ami Brown. The De'Ami Brown touchdown was sweet. Get all
Well, it
all three
leads
of
two
those
game tying drives at the end there. Two of them.
all three of those touchdown passes were sick. Like
Yeah.
really sick plays. Whether he's standing in the pocket
Special.
for the Gibson, yeah, the way he scanned the field with De'Ami and that connection, the UNC connection there, De'Ami knew where to go. That was awesome. You can see that's kind of his guy. He looks for him in those
And the
moments.
fumble,
Ugh,
came at a really bad time, and Seattle ends up scoring right after it, although but because the defense gave up a big play.
yeah,
But I don't know. He's trying to make a play. It,
yeah, but the play was
he's got to
made.
be
You got to go
smarter than
down.
that. But it wasn't like a sack fumble or one of those where he wasn't protecting the ball. He's just trying to spark his team, make a big play.
Yeah, which I
Those things
respect,
happen.
and I think personally the big play was already made, and you just slide at that.
You're
If you
right.
got a
You're
design
right.
quarterback run and you're running up the middle of the field,
You're right.
slide when you get the first down. Just do
You're
it, and
right.
then the drive keeps rolling, and do the little ball flick and point for first down. Look cool, do the thing. But Geno Smith also carved it up, despite looking rough for stretches of that game. 369 yards still. He could have easily been over 400 today. 31 for 47, one sack, 103.9 passer rating as well. Seattle had 489 yards of total offense. So for all the guys that want to go, Sam Howell's not the guy because we don't win today. And I've already got a couple of them on Twitter.
Oh my God.
400. Find me a stat for how many times the team can win when the opposing team has 489 yards of total offense. That's abhorrent. I mean, that's just terrible. That is awful, 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 awful defense.
Well, those
Um,
comments just prove people have an agenda they want to stick to, and that's it.
and you know what? We're all traumatized. We're all traumatized in this city. We don't know how to handle prosperity. We don't know how to handle things going well at the
But you
quarterback
can't
position.
you can't do any
But
more as a player than lead your team to 2 game tying drives, and the coach decides not to go for 2.
yep,
I mean,
Yep, and that's a puzzling one too,
so
and especially when you factor in the missed extra point at the beginning of the game. I guess it doesn't end up mattering because we lose by 3, but you figure if they make that extra point and then you go for 2 there and if they make that extra point, you definitely have to go for 2 there. You go for 2 there, you get it, and then we're up by 3.
the point is, you just made the point.
Wait, did I do
Why
the
would you
math
have
right?
any confidence that your defense could stop them? You're at the stats.
I
So
do the
why
math
wouldn't
there. We
you?
still lose on a field goal, but I'm with you. We should have gone for 2, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, we still lose on a field goal. We lose by 2 instead of, but like, if your logic is, well, Ron's logic in the presser after the game was there was too much time left on the clock. What? I mean, what does that have to do with anything? So you means they have enough time to go down and kick a field goal. Wouldn't it be better to be up by 1 and hope they miss the field goal? Like, I don't understand that at all. He's
Might have
claiming
been.
the analytics say when there's that much time on the clock, you shouldn't go for 2. That's
How
what he said in
about
his press conference.
how about this is the worst for me of the Ron Rivera. That
Explain it
clock,
to me. I
the
just would love to
clock.
understand.
So let me get to the end of this point here. The clock management was terrible on that 2-minute drill. Absolutely awful. Ron Rivera was daydreaming about the early bird special at Golden Corral. He was completely just gone. I mean, I don't know what the hell happened there. And how about when that Antonio Gibson call, where he clearly got the first down and they effed up that spot? You call a timeout and you don't challenge? What are you doing? What are you
Yeah,
doing? Can you challenge there, or is that an inside 2 minutes? All reviews have to come from the booth. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm just
I
realizing.
honestly, I honestly
But
think we're playing for moral victories. I do. I think he's playing to not lose that game on that extra point, on that 2 point conversion. That's what he's doing. I honestly believe it.
it
He's
is
kicking that field goal basically to say I lose the game because of a 2 point
yeah,
conversion call.
real frustrating. And you know what? We're not getting any help from the Zebras either. And I know you went off about that last week, and I told you I don't love doing that. I still don't love doing that, but the
I
Forbes
give up on it.
ejection The Forbes ejection is just nuts. That's just awful. They said it came from New York. New York kick hots. I mean, just terrible. New York totally with their heads up their cooler there. If you watch the play in slow mo, it looks rough, but watch it at full speed. There's nothing he could do. Lockett fell into his helmet because he was losing his balance. Is it a flag? Yes. Is it a little reckless? Sure. Is it an ejection? When Kareem
No.
Jackson decapitates Logan Thomas in the end zone, sends him out of the game for 2 weeks with a concussion, that's not an ejection. When Sam Howell gets his head taken off by Kaiser White, the quarterback, and that's not an ejection, but that's an ejection. That's miserable. we're gonna get to that. I got a little ahead of my skis there.
Magic Johnson needs to spend a lot of time at league meetings this offseason because he's got to
Signing
turn his vibe.
autographs, kissing
He's
puppies.
got to turn his vibe against Washington around because we're
Yeah.
not going to get any breaks right now.
Yeah, we
It's
need
Dan
Magic.
Snyder hangover, but we're not getting any breaks right now.
Real tough there. And where was New York on the spot of the ball for the Gibson play there, which should have been a first down? Gibson, you got to get out of bounds. It's happened twice. But anyways, just tough on that last drive. Benjamin St. Juste with a game-losing sequence. Just awful. He was awful today. Terrible. And it is just like this quarterback room, except for Kendall Fuller, it's like they spin the wheel and they say, who's going to be the worst player in the NFL this week? Pick a quarterback. And today it was Benjamin St. Juste. It's been 13. In previous weeks, you give him the pass because he's the rookie. Gets ejected today, and Benjamin St. Juste said, don't worry, buddy. I got you. I'm going to suck instead. And he was horrible.
At one point, today. Metcalf caught a ball, and St. Juste literally backpedaled to avoid tackling him. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Horrible. And you want to go like this.
I mean, Mayo was kind of there trying to make the tackle, but St. Juste literally backed off the play when he got beat for the catch.
Horrible. He was terrible. He was terrible today.
I mean, the PI call, I'm not going to complain.
It's the right call. It's the right call. It sucks, but it's a good call.
It's very punitive. He couldn't have caught it. He couldn't have caught that ball, but he got fingertips on it by the letter of the law. They're going to give him that, but it's pretty punitive.
In my opinion, it's a ticky-tack call. The reason I'm okay with it is they were calling it ticky-tack all game. And BSJ got away with a couple, too.
Apparently, this group of refs is known for that.
Yeah, that's more your department.
I got this from Kevin Sheehan, but he said that they've called more penalties than any ref group all year.
Nice.
So
nice.
Anyway.
Like to quote the great Jack Del Rio, who's always so eloquent in his press conferences, I'd like to see an emphasis on the refs getting the call right to call a fair contest. Anyways, let's move on to the awards here. Tough loss. There were some great individual performances. We're going to go ahead and give that Sauce Award to Brian Robinson. I know we love to give it to Howell here. In my opinion, that fumble, just kind of when you've had such good individual performances elsewhere, that just kind of you lose that spot. I think.
I wasn't thinking so much that as I think B-Rob what a monster game. I mean, look at those stats.
For everybody, for the boy, just remember who was screaming about him being underrated as a pass catcher. Who was screaming about it? 119 yards today.
He looks good.
119 yards. He's a bulldozer. He's a good football player. I really like Brian Robinson. 8 for 38 on the ground. You'd love to see him get maybe 12 carries even. 6 for 119 receiving, 157 yards total, and a touchdown. Helmet sticker wise, got to go Sam Howell. We already read his numbers off, but just a stud. Played really well in spite of not having much help anywhere else. Antonio Gibson going to get another helmet sticker, 2 for 17 on the ground, but 5 for 42 and a great receiving touchdown there. De'Ami Brown will give the helmet sticker as well for just showing up when it was time to show up, and also because we can give nobody on that defense the helmet sticker because they are just awful as a unit. That defense is bad.
I looked through it. I mean, I guess you were saying he didn't have a very good game, but it just can't give anyone on the defense an award. There wasn't anything really there, and understand the reasoning between trading the two guys away, but it's definitely having an impact on the pass rush. Anyone that doesn't think it is kind of kidding themselves. Yeah, this idea that we'd be better without them is obviously not correct.
Well, just go look at what CY did in San Francisco.
Maybe it's the best thing for the future of the team.
Yeah, I think two things can be true at the same time. I think it's best for the future of the team, and I think we also stink right now without those guys. We stunk with them before, but we stink worse.
Yep.
It's tough. Cazz of the game, I already kind of got ahead of myself here, but it's got to be the Forbes ejection there. Just miserable, just really, really, really terrible. There, it's tough to see. Not not fair. You were hoping the young man would get back on track after having a good week last week, and you just didn't even get the opportunity to on like the second or third defensive play of the game to get that ejection is just wild.
I don't know. And the fact that they went to New York and that was the judgment call that they made, I can almost live with it more if it was a knee jerk from the ref. Boom, boom, it happens live on the field. You think, okay, that was a really bad hit in game action. But the fact they go to replay and look at that hit and think it was worthy of an ejection is so inconsistent. That's just somebody in the league office with an agenda, right? And the agenda was to kick somebody out of a game. I'm not saying it was against us in particular, but an agenda that, to make a point about a play like that.
Well,
But
you
I don't
hear
know.
you hear Dane
I
Blandino
mean,
say it.
exactly. A great point.
He says, "I don't like the call, but there's an emphasis on getting these kinds of plays out of the game." And I just, I don't know what I don't know what you can do. These guys are moving at lightning speed. You hate to see hits to the head, of course. Okay, nobody likes that. But these guys
But
are
there
moving
wasn't
at
the intent
lightning.
there. There
There's no
clearly wasn't
malintent.
intent
It's a
there.
football play. These guys are moving at lightning speed. You can't go low because you're trying not to tear ACLs. So you're clearly not trying to go to the helmet, but you're just turning to make a play. You're going to hit the guy. It's a contact sport.
Yeah.
That's why we all love it and watch it. It's
Yeah.
it's silly, and this isn't a case of Kareem Jackson just flying across the end zone for the sake of knocking somebody's helmet off. We're not even asking
No.
for something like that. This is crazy. But to turn things around here, I want to say, and I know you got a point you want to make here, Pop. So I want to
Yeah.
give
I got a
a give
couple
a set give
couple
a
closing
segue
points.
here. I think I tweeted it out. I said we've got certain individuals continuing to ball in spite of just absolutely miserable coaching, and I think there was miserable coaching on every side of the ball today, offensive, defense, and Ron Rivera making decisions right. But I really think as close as we've been in a lot of these games and how terrible the coaching's been and how giant the holes are on this roster at linebacker, for example, and offensive line, I think the future is bright here in terms of where we're headed. And I think that while this season is mathematically more or less a wash at this point, sad to say, but it just is, I think there's a lot to like about this team when we get the right people in charge, when we get the right football minds moving things in place. And I think for the first time in my lifetime, and a solid portion of the fan base's lifetime, we actually have a guy who's going to make sure that the right people are in charge. So
Yeah.
that's the note that I'm willing to end on today. And I know Pop, you got a couple points you want to make. So
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the point that I'd make just about the game in general is just, this is who we are. We're just good enough to lose against a good team, and
this is who we've
also
been for 4 years.
we're also just bad enough to lose against bad teams. So I've already heard the good news is the Giants are coming in next week. Spare me with that, because
Tommy
that's just the
DeVito on a
kind of
belly
game
full of
that
chicken cutlets.
this team is gonna lay a deuce on and play
Listen to me.
poorly. I've got no faith.
Listen to
Now
me.
I got faith in the. Can I go ahead?
I had a joke, but go ahead. Go ahead. It's more important.
Go ahead.
Go
You
ahead.
got it.
I was just gonna say, listen to me. Don't underestimate the power of an Italian on game day with a belly full of chicken cutlets. All right,
Not
spare
even
me
sure
with
he's
the New
gonna be
York
playing
is gonna be an easy
after
game.
what he did today.
Spare me with that. All right.
But
Anyway.
and I'll tell you where I'm at after this game is wipe them all out. EB2. I I think that
Not there yet.
the fact that he just doesn't want to run an offense that's most beneficial to this team, and he's locked in on just doing what he wants to do, which is passing the ball on every down. He's not doing us a favor, and I'm out. I'm out, and I'm definitely out on this team being in playoff contention. I won't bring it up again. I'm done. I'm done putting emotion into thinking this team can be good this season with this group of coaches, as you said, and the way they're constructed. I'm done with it. I'm going to keep rooting for them. I'm going to keep watching, and I'm going to keep especially hoping that Sam continues the ball. When it comes to Sam, all right, I heard from everybody. I think the kid has played phenomenally considering he's a first-year quarterback. But everybody wants to pick on the things he does wrong, not as if did you see Lamar Jackson today? Did you see how he lost that game for the Ravens? And I think he's top 3 in the league. Every freaking quarterback in this league makes mistakes. Did you see Joe Burrow? Speaking of painful things. And this
Back-to-back
kid can't
INTs.
sneeze the wrong way without people jumping up and saying, "Oh, I'm not convinced he's the guy."
He's 23.
As a first-year player, this is a historic type of year that we're witnessing. So just enjoy it. And I can't see how any knowledgeable football personnel person wouldn't want to ride with this guy continually, because I don't think he's gotten the best coaching. I really don't, to help him. I think he's done a lot of what he's done in spite of this coaching staff, not because of them. And so you said he had to have two good games in a row. And then the same people out there, some people I have respect for, but I don't necessarily agree for, in the media said, "Oh, I got to see 3." So let me tell you, what, we got to see 4 now? Maybe 5, 6? What do you want? What's good enough for a first-year player to prove that he's the guy? He's doing this in spite of this. This guy fell in Ron Rivera's lap. We had a high grade on him. You waited until the 5th round to pick him? And then you didn't even know he was any good. Your quote after the season was, "God, I wish I would have played him sooner. I wish I knew what we had." So he fell in our lap. This is the starting point of a turnaround, and good luck, because we got good new ownership and we lucked into a good quarterback. It has nothing to do with anybody on this staff knowing that he was this good. They got lucky. But this kid can play. Let's just hope we don't get him killed by the end of the season.
Yep, Ron Rivera was knuckle deep in a pint of chocolate chip when Taylor Heineke told him, "Coach, I'm not playing this weekend. Let's give this Howell kid a shot." I actually think
he's trying like hell to take credit for it. But anyway,
we're gonna build
regardless,
the great news. Taylor Heineke statue.
I'm going to repeat this. I'm going to repeat this as much as I can. We are winning, Commanders Nation, because it looks like we found a quarterback. I won't go 100% the way there, but it looks like 90% plus we found a quarterback. And Dan Snyder's no longer the owner. And thank God this coaching staff and GMs and everyone's going to get blown out, and we could start all over at the end of this season.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely, with every loss, there is a positive takeaway, because this is just one more reason that this ain't going to happen again. We're just not going to keep doing this. And you know what? Maybe we bring in a new guy and it doesn't work. Maybe Howell takes a step back next year. It could happen. But this Ron Rivera, just good enough to lose, just bad enough to beat bad teams, just good enough to lose to good teams, and just bad enough to lose to bad teams too. This whole thing is over. This is never going to happen again. This still has. I was thinking of watching the game today. This still reeks of Dan Snyder. This is the guy that Dan Snyder said he's going to save my career as a Washington owner. This is all still Dan. And this is the last little bit of it. The last little bit of it. So, guys, let's enjoy the rest of this year for what it is, which is a Sam Howell audition. That's all the rest of this year is a Sam Howell audition. So let's just enjoy it for what it is, because right now, in my opinion, he's passing it with flying colors. Let's get out of this thing in one piece, and come January, we're going to be having podcasts about who the new head coach is going to be, and we're going to be predicting another Chiefs Super Bowl, probably. But let's wrap this thing up. If you guys are still with us, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You clearly
I gotta get some
enjoy hanging with the boys at this point.
I got to go get some brioche.
Yeah, man, this is
settle the stomach a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta put.
I did eat some chicken cutlets tonight. They were really good.
There you go. Have some ready for Tommy D next week. Anyways, let's wrap this thing up, guys. Without further ado, I've been Dom.
This is Pop.
Thanks for another great weekend.